To wean or not to wean? That's the question when coming off of GLP-1 agonist medications. Let's talk about it. My name is Dr. G, and I'm an internal medicine physician and also a lifestyle medicine expert. I use lifestyle modification coaching and use medications like GLP-1 agonists to help patients reach their healthcare goals. I consult with over 300 patients a month, and let's talk about some of the things that come up in our office. I have actually a question from our lifestyle modification community group, and one of our members reached out to us on our announcements page, and she had a question. It says, "Forgive me if this has been covered, but I need Dr. G's advice. I just reached my goal weight, and my doctor is all for me going cold turkey off the Mounjaro. This terrifies me because I don't want to deal with returning food noise and all the other things that come along with going off the medication. I'd like to know which camp you are in for those of us that have reached our goal weight, titrating doses down, currently on a 10 milligram pen, spacing injections farther apart, or anything else you might have to offer. Thanks." Pretty cool stuff, straight from our community. And I want to answer this. I've had this question come up several times in the YouTube space and now in our community group, but I have this conversation with every single consult I do. I actually have this question on the very first consult. I ask patients, hey, when we get close to your goals, your weight loss goals or your healthcare goals, whatever the goals are for being on the GLP-1 agonist, because some people are on there for diabetes, for the weight loss for sure, not diabetes, it's a lifetime medication typically for diabetes, but for weight loss, how do you want to handle this? Do you want to land the plane, meaning start to wean before you get to your goal, maybe 10 to 15 pounds out, we start weaning down? Or would you like to arrive and then start to wean? So those are the two options I offer all of my patients. So understanding what the medication actually does for you is absolutely important to know how you are going to come off the medication. And then you learn a little bit more while you're on the medication to see what the IRL reactions, in real life reactions for you, what those things are, and then understand as you come off the medications, what things do you really have to battle in order to maintain your weight or keep your weight near to where your goal has been. So that means understanding your relationship with food, understanding what your barriers are, understanding what your triggers are, understanding what your support system is going to be going forward, accountability partners, bad habits and good habits you have formed, hopefully a lot more good than bad. Bad you just threw away, and good that you formed and strengthened over the time that you're on the medication. And last but not especially not least, is whether or not as you come off this medication, are you winning the fight with food noise? Especially if overeating is your thing, or snacking is your thing, are you still making good decisions when the time comes for you to make a plate of food or to sit at a dinner table with friends or to go out to eat? Are you making good decisions like you have been that got you down to your weight, right? Are you continuing the good habits of working out? Those things are very important to watch as we wean to see is there any failure point? Is there any weakness that you have still that needs to be addressed, which would necessitate slowing down the wean or maybe going back to the maintenance dose and work on that portion of your lifestyle modification a little bit longer before we try to wean again. Of course, watching your weight, making sure you don't go too low, making sure the protein is good, lean muscle mass is kept up, and you are still doing your resistance training, you're doing your nutrition, all the things that you need to do, but work specifically on that weakness point so that we can go again and wean, right? And then let's understand that some people just can't wean off, right? We can get down to a lowest effective dose, and then that be your maintenance dose at the largest interval possible. So let's talk about some of the techniques I use here, right? Some of the techniques we use here, like I said, we can titrate the dose down, start from 10 milligrams, go to 7.5. We can, break up doses if we're using compound medications, or split dose if we have a pen of 10 milligrams. We're still getting 10 milligram pens. We can split dose down to 7.5 every 10 days if you want. You want to lower the dose and you want to increase the interval. That's one approach. Or you can simply decrease the dose and keep your 7-day intervals and do that for 2 weeks. Do 7.5 for 2 weeks and then feeling all right, holding on to weight, keep doing all the things. No worries with food noise, no worries with any of the bad things that are associated with weight gain or unhealthy eating, unhealthy relationships with food, none of the things have reared their ugly heads, and you're keeping everything's copacetic. Let's go to 5. Get to 5, maybe go back to 2.5. We get to 2.5, we might want a trial of getting off it then. 2 weeks after that, hey, you know what, doc? Let's go with nothing. I think I'm ready. We do 2 weeks, you feel good, off you go. You have now made the lifestyle modification changes. You have trained yourself to stay off the medication. The other thing that could happen is we get down to the lowest effective dose. Get down to 2.5, we try to come off, and then you start to have issues with food noise, or then you start to have issues with overeating or whatever else that was happening before, making unhealthy choices, whatever it was, right? So maybe we need to go back to 2.5. Now we try to find the largest interval that you can go with that 2.5, and periodically we can take a trial and say, hey, let's go this week without trying it. Okay, if we try 2 or 3 times and you fail, guess what? You need 2.5 milligrams every X amount of weeks, every 2 weeks. I have patients that come in here once a month for 2.5 milligrams, and that's it. So those are the 3 ways we could do it. Decrease the dosage weekly, see how you do, or increase the intervals weekly, see how you do, or do both at the same time and see how you do. The goal is to get to the lowest effective dose at the largest interval possible, or to come off the medications altogether and allow you to do what you've been doing and you've been training yourself to do over the last 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever time it took for you to get to your goal weight, allow you to do that going forward. So that is our approach here. So we allow you first to decide whether you want to land the plane on the medications or wean as you come down. Cool. And then from there, we continue to wean when you're on your goal, continue to wean in one of those 3 ways that I just described. Now, I know that the literature says that the medication, the manufacturers of tirzepatide and semaglutide specifically, they do recommend that we maintain patients. They have these medications as a maintenance medication. The problem I have with that is the maintenance dose for them is typically the highest dose, 2.4 for semaglutide and 15 milligrams for ZEPBOUND, right, for tirzepatide. So these manufacturers have these numbers, it's super high doses. First off, we talk about it a lot. I typically do not get every single patient to, the maximum dose. It just doesn't happen. We have good weight loss with the intermediate doses or even the lowest dose, and there's no side effects. I'm not chasing a side effect by going higher and higher. So that's number 1. Number 2, I think, and I've said this from the very beginning since we started talking about GLP-1 agonists on this channel, and I've learned more and more and more and more and more about it and seen more patients about it. I've consulted hundreds of patients about this at this point, and I know that many people do not have an issue. It's not a medication issue. It's not, oh, I need the medication forever. Most people that come in this office, at least, and I've consulted on YouTube and we've talked in our lifestyle group, it's just lifestyle changes. Things that, new habits that need to be formed. Not every single person, it needs to be on the medication forever. And if they do, they'll do just fine on the lowest effective dose at the largest interval possible. Yeah, that's what I got to say about it. I have one last tip though. I do have one patient. She goes on a lot of cruises. So she brings up a very nuanced way to use the medication is understanding that you have triggers. And her trigger is when she's on these big old boats, these cruise ships, they have a lot of food. They've got a lot of food available. She loves to cruise. She loves to be with her family. She loves the family time and her family goes together. So she doesn't want to miss out on that. Does well when she's on land. Great, stays on, does her exercises and nutrition. But she found that going on cruises, which she goes on often, tends to break her nutrition, tends to break her good habits because there's so many options and it's an abundance. So what do? A week before she goes on her cruise, she gets a small dose of her meds, her GLP-1s, and she does fine. She's doing fine. Been doing it for 6 months now, maintaining her weight. She's been on 4 cruises, I believe, since then, doing just fine. So what I'm saying is there may be situations where you periodically go to a trigger that you cannot miss for whatever reason, be it social, be it family, be it, those are trigger spots. There's reason to explore with your medical provider if it makes sense for you to dose prior to that trigger that will be not a good result, right? And especially if you do it over and over. If it's just once, maybe you can do fine. But someone like my patient who goes multiple times a year on these cruises, very often. It's something that happens down here in South Florida. We're very lucky. Yeah, it's something that I think should be and could be explored with your medical provider. That's our take here at FCMW on how we wean our patients down to the lowest effective dose, hopefully getting them off, and how we do it here. And we've been doing it here successfully. Listen up. This question and other great questions are being answered every single day in our online lifestyle modification community. And you have the opportunity right now with the link in the description below to get 7 days in the community. You can get access to me and my coaching staff, and also chat with us directly. And there's some goodies in there, some free stuff in there. Stuff that I cannot offer here on YouTube is kind of, just doesn't work. And not only that, some of the questions, this question has been asked in the comment section. Guess what? I saw it here, didn't really see it in the comment section, and I can't answer it because the comments come in on different videos. There's no way I'm going to be able to keep up with that, which is one of the reasons why we started community. So you want your opportunity to get in there, 7 days free? Link, description below. Stay healthy, stay informed, and I will see you soon.